Hey everybody, this is a longer video that I'm going to make about a little bit more of the technical details of this aquaponics system and how to build it, etc. So first I have to explain the basic idea of aquaponics, which is sort of an artificial ecosystem, and the idea is that the fish waste, which the fish generate as a result of the food that you feed them, that fish waste comes out as ammonia and urea and ammonium. And that is broken down by microbes into plant available nutrients. So that provides the nitrogen for the plants, which is usually the thing that they need the most. We have ways of artificially producing nitrogen, but this is a natural way of producing it. And so in order to get that system going, in order to get the microbes to actually process the waste into plant available nutrients, I add in a pond starter solution, which is basically a mixture of those microbes that are that make a pond be able to function as an ecosystem. And that's basically what you're doing here, is sort of mimicking the pond environment. So it's pretty simple. From there, this pump down here pumps the water up into the grow bed, and you can see kind of that I have a pipe there where the water's coming out. That water fills, this pump runs all the time. Sometimes you can do a different, you could do 30 minutes on, 30 minutes off. You could run it every 3 hours. It's really up to you. I just think it's easier to run it all the time. It might be a little bit more energy efficient to run it a little bit less often, but I get a really good filtration effect because of that. So this right here is the media. This is hydroton, which is expanded clay pebbles. So it's sort of like they make popcorn. They put it under an extremely high pressure and then it sort of explodes. And the idea with this media is that it's very lightweight because it's very porous. And because it's so porous, it has a really high amount of biological surface area, which basically means there's a lot of surface area that allows the microbes to basically live in there and conduct the processes of nitrifying the waste. And so that's why we use this particular material. It's also lightweight, which allows the plant roots to get in there. And yeah, so this is probably the most expensive component of the aquaponics system. These are, you can find them on Amazon, but it was probably about $40 for the amount of media to fill up this system. Let's see, what else we have here. I use two 4x2, 4 foot by 2 foot grow reservoirs. You can find these online pretty much anywhere. The best price I found was about 40 bucks per reservoir, and we've got two here. All right, so that is probably going to add up to almost $90. You can use other materials though. Lately I've been thinking about using like a kiddie pool, like a child's pool, as a reservoir, which is a lot less expensive. Let's see, what else do we have here? I have an air pump running in there all the time because it's very important that the plant roots get oxygen and also that the fish get oxygen, especially when the heat gets really hot in the summertime. The amount of dissolved oxygen goes down, and that is really unhealthy for the fish and for the plants. So what I have going on is underneath here, and I've got this on just a table. It's a glass metal table that I just had extra lying around. And I've got this little plastic box here. So down here I've got an air pump, and I've got my power cord running in here. And so that air pump is running air up into the grow bed. And the idea of this right here, of just the box, is to make sure that the electronics are protected and that you don't have the risk of, a fire or something like that happening. And say if it were to rain and this were to overflow, it would still be protected relatively. On the outside I've added insulation. And that insulation is basically just to keep the heat, to keep the direct sun off of the grow bed so that we can limit the rate of evaporation from the sun hitting it, and to keep the temperature low or lower, because it does get up into well over 100 degrees here in the summertime. And then I just added that bunny there because I didn't really have anything else As far as what plants I chose, you want to choose plants that are okay with a high water environment. So you probably don't want to put in anything that that really doesn't like having too much water, that really needs good drainage. So I don't know how well this lavender over here is doing. It looks like it's having a little bit of a hard time. It might prefer having a little bit more dry soil. The idea with this Hydroton media is you want it to be so that the water level is just below the surface layer, and that's to limit the evaporation of the water mostly, and to protect the roots. Let's see what else is there. As far as other nutrients that I add to the solution, I add azomite dust, which is basically a lot of micronutrients, provides all the other nutrients that you need besides nitrogen, which is supplied by the fish. And I also add in a chelated iron, which makes the iron plant available. You can't just use any sort of iron, and if you're more interested in that, let me know and I'll tell you the specific type, because it's pretty important. And that's pretty much it. I mean, it's not a very complex system. I add water once a week. I feed the fish every day or every other day, and that's really all there is to it. And this is a month of growth right here, and we haven't even hit the peak sun yet. So things are looking really good. This is going to be a really productive system, and if you're interested in how much this would cost, I would say probably about $175 after looking at the parts list, but I think it could be done for less. That's if you do it yourself. If you're interested in building one of these systems, I'd be happy to help you. I'm probably going to be forming a business that is going to basically be doing that, designing systems for people. So if you want help, I could probably put one of these systems together for you for about $250. That would be about the same size and productivity. And this will produce more cucumbers than I probably need, and tomatoes and jalapenos. And then one final note about this is that we have a lot of diversity here in terms of types of plants. And I think that that's really important for keeping away pests, because you have just sort of all these different scents that can kind of throw off different pests that specifically go after a certain type of plant. Like white flies usually go after cucumbers, and I think that having this garlic here and having these this geranium and having the lavender and the thyme will sort of throw off their scent. But it's sort of like a permaculture idea. The species diversity sort of protects the whole group. So that's it, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have questions, go ahead and put them in the comment section and I will answer them.